Hello everybody! Today I can find missing sides of a triangle when given midpoints using 2 times the midsegment equals the opposite side. I'm going to explain to you what that means. So I'm going to tell you that these are midpoints. So there's a few special things that happen when the midpoints are joined. First off, these are parallel. So if these are parallel, we learned earlier this year that makes these corresponding angles, which are congruent. And it makes these corresponding angles, which are congruent. And reflexive property, that's in both triangles, which makes those congruent. So since all the angles are congruent, the triangles are similar, which is why it falls in the similar triangles unit, which we've been doing. So that's one thing, is that the lines are parallel, making the triangle similar. So now there's something else that's important to know. The midsegment, the segment joining the midpoints, is always half of the opposite side. So if this is 2, then this would be 4. If this is 7, this would be 14. If the big one, if this was 20, this would be 10. So the midsegment is always half of the opposite side. The opposite side is always double the midsegment. So the easiest way to use this in algebra, in an algebra type question which you're going to see, is the rule 2 times the midsegment equals the opposite side. So what that means is, well, if I multiply 2 times the midsegment, it's equal to the opposite side. So once we get algebraic expressions, we're going to utilize that. So let's start going through some examples. It's telling me that D is the midpoint and B is the midpoint, which makes this a midsegment. So if DB is 12, that means that FH is double that, 24. If FH is 6, that means that DB, the midsegment, is half of that, which is 3. Now C and D are a little different. If AF is 2, well, this doesn't incorporate this rule, but if D is the midpoint and AF is 2, that makes AD and DF each 1, so that would be 1. And that's not a 2 times the midsegment equals the opposite side concept. That's the midpoint, that's a segment and a half concept. And then this last one students always get wrong the first time through. If AHF is 109, then what's angle ABD? Well, since these are parallel and the triangles are similar, these are corresponding angles, which means they're congruent, 109. Remember, the angles in similar triangles are congruent. The sides are in proportion, and specifically the proportion when midpoints are joined is 2 to 1. Now we're going to start incorporating some algebra into this. If AC is 36 and DE is x minus 3, well, because I have a midsegment here, 2 times the midsegment equals the opposite side. So 2 times x minus 3 equals 36. That's how you'd set it up. Now from here I solve, so I'm just going to kind of bring that up into space. So 2x minus 6 equals 36, plus 6 plus 6, 2x equals 42, divide by 2. X is 21. It's asking for the measure of DE. Well, DE is x minus 3, which is 21 minus 3, which is 18. So to set it up, 2 times the midsegment equals the opposite side. Now B, if AC equals 2x plus 6 and DE equals 12, well, 2 times the midsegment equals the opposite side. So 2 times 12 equals 2x plus 6. I'm not going to solve it for you from there, but once you solve it, you get your answer. In the diagram below, AB is 10, BC is 14, AC is 16. Great. Find the perimeter of the triangle formed by connecting the midpoints. Well, I know that this segment is half of this, so that must be 8. I know that this segment must be half of this, so that's 5. I know that this segment must be half of this, which is 7. So the perimeter of the triangle formed by connecting the midpoints is 7 plus 8 plus 5, which is 20. When the midpoints are joined, the midsegment is half of the opposite side, half of the side that it's parallel to. AC is 10, AT is 18, CT is 22. It's asking for the perimeter of parallelogram CDOG. So I'm going to do that in purple, CDOG. Well, let's start here. If this is 22, and it says that these are all midpoints, that means that DO is half of 22, which is 11. If AT is 18, it means that this midsegment is half of that, which is 9. And finally, this right here, this midsegment must be half of this side, which makes it 5. Now it says that it's a parallelogram, so this must also be 11. This must also be 5. That 9 I'm not using here because it's not part of the perimeter of that parallelogram. 5 plus 11 plus 5 plus 11 that's 32. So you're going to see questions like this where the midpoints are joined. Again, the midsegment is half of the opposite side. I want to go over one more question together. Something like this one, where it's all algebra. It's telling me that A is the midpoint of UV. It's telling me that B is the midpoint. It's telling me that C is the midpoint. So I know that 2 times the midsegment is equal to the opposite side. So 2 times the midsegment is equal to the opposite side. That's how you'd set it up. From here, I do the algebra. 6x plus 2 equals 7x minus 3. Minus 6x minus 6x. 2 equals x minus 3 plus 3. I do the algebra. I know I keep on saying that. So x is 5. Now it's asking for VC. Well, VC is half of VW. So I can do half of 7x minus 3, half of 7 times 5 minus 3. You can put that into your calculator. That is 16. So when the midpoints are joined, the midsegment is half of the opposite side, or in other words, 2 times the midsegment is equal to the opposite side. Depending on the way the question is asked, you might need to just cut it in half, or you might need to use this formula. And that's it. Your classwork/homework is to finish joining the midpoints of a triangle, and I hope everyone has a great day.